Hi, good evening, fifth graders. Tonight is the night we're going to be learning about fractions, okay? It's the first lesson of many that we're going to be dealing with fractions, learning about fractions, how they work, what they are, how to change them into decimals, percents, how to add them, subtract them, multiply, and divide them, okay? I'm going to break them down from the simplest term to most complex terms when dealing with fractions. First off, when we're taking a look at fractions, I'm going to write an example on this page. Let's write the fraction 3/6. Your numerator is the top number. That is your numerator. Numerator is the part of a fraction that you're trying to find out, the part of a whole. So whenever you're trying to find out, let's say this is a pizza. There's 6 slices of pizza. 3/6 have been eaten. So that means 3 pieces are gone. So that's always the part of the whole. The next big word you're going to have to know is your denominator. So I'm going to write down 3/6 again on the board. I'm going to refresh it. This is your numerator. This is your denominator. So I can use that pizza example again. There's 6 slices to make the whole pizza. 6 is your denominator. That is your whole. 3 is your numerator. There's 3 slices that are pepperoni, let's say. 3/6 of the pizza is pepperoni. Okay. The next thing I'm going to teach you is what that line means. 3/6. This line in the middle is what I'm talking about. This is a division sign. Okay, you don't always put the dot above and below, but it means division. So if I'm taking a look at this and I want to find out what percent of the pizza or what decimal of the pizza is pepperoni, if 3/6 is, I have to divide 3 divided by 6. 6 goes into 3 how many times? 0 times. 6 times 0 is 0. I'm going to subtract to get a 3 decimal, bring down the 0. 6 goes into 35 times. 6 times 5 is 30. I'm going to subtract, I get a 0. Move the decimal up, 0.5. 0.5 means half, right? Would that be correct? 3/6? Yes. Let's take a look at some other examples here. Okay. A lot of times when we're working with fractions, we have to convert fractions to another fraction, okay? Now I'm going to be doing some examples here. An hour is what fraction of the day? Well, what is the whole? How many hours are in the day? 24 hours are in the day. We just want 1 hour. 1 out of 24. A minute is what fraction of an hour? How many minutes are in an hour? 60. 1 minute. A second is what fraction of a minute? Well, how many seconds are in a minute? 60. 1 minute, or 1 second. A half hour is how many minutes? So this is where we're going to take a small fraction and turn it into a bigger fraction. So watch closely. So a lot of it is like missing or fill in the missing number. So half hour is how many minutes? Well, we have to write half equals. Well, what are we dealing with? An hour. So 60 is our whole. So that means that we know our denominator. And then we're trying to find out what our numerator is up here. Well, all we have to do is it's simple multiplication, okay? The bottom, how does 2 get to 60? 2 times 30 equals 60. So 1 times 30 equals 30. So a half hour is the same as 30 over 60, which is 30 minutes. You see how I did that, kids? If you can do that simple math, fractions will be easy. Let's take a look at the next problem. 3/4 of an hour is how many minutes? Well, I have 3/4, right? We're dealing with 1 hour, which is 60 minutes. So 60 is my denominator again. 4 times 15 equals 60. 3 times 15 equals 45. 45 is my answer. 1/3 of an hour is how many minutes? Well, I've got 1/3. I'm going to see what that equals out of 60. 3 times 20. 1 times 20 equals 20. Does that make sense? 60 divided by 3 is 20. 1/6 of an hour, so we have 1/6 equals out of 60 times 10 times 10 equals 10. That's my answer. 1/5, I'm going to keep on rolling here. 1/5 out of 60 times 12 equals 12. Down here, 4 days is what fraction of the week? 4 over 7, because there's 7 days in a week. 11 months is what fraction of a year? There's 12 months in a year. So 11 is my answer. Let's keep going with some practice problems here. So here's some different ways you're using fractions in real life, okay? If you need to find the difference between a whole number and a fraction of a number, maybe if you're dealing with a cake or a pizza, anything with a ruler and inches is done in fractions. Sometimes it can be referred to as a whole, the one with measurements as a unit, okay? If you're looking at maybe you cracked 1/4 the eggs in the carton, okay? 1/4 out of 12 eggs would give you 3 eggs that you cracked, okay? Those are just different examples. You'll hear fractions your whole life, okay? Let's keep on taking a look here. This set has 10 counters. What fraction is black? 10 is my whole set. How many are black? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 are black. Here's another example here. If 8 counters are the whole set, boom, 8's my denominator. What fraction of the set is 2 counters? 2. If 16 counters are the whole set, automatically 16 here. How many counters are 1/4? Now we're going back to kind of the time, 1/5 of a minute, okay? So I'm going to put 1/4 equals what over 16? Well, now we're multiplying times 4, 4 sixteenths. 4 counters would be 1/4 of 16. You see how we're doing that? 1/4 equals blank over 16. Here's another example. If 30 counters are the whole set, so 30 is my denominator. 4/5 would be what? 4/5 equals what over 30? Times 6 times 6, 24. 24 counters would be 4/5. It's simple, it's easy, just don't make it too complicated, okay? There's another problem here. If 8 counters are half of the set, now 8's not my whole, 8 is half. So I'm gonna write half equals, now this is where it gets tricky. Am I gonna put the 8 as the numerator, 8 as the denominator? If I put 8 as the denominator, that means 8 is the whole. 8 isn't the whole, 8 is part. So 8 has to be my numerator. Now I do the simple math. 1 times what equals 8? 1 times 8, 2 times 8 equals 16. Now doesn't that make sense? 8 sixteenths, 8 is half of 16. If 8 counters are half of the set, 8 is half of 16. How big is the set? 16 is how big the set is. If any of these things aren't making sense, you have to rewind and watch it again. I'm breaking this down pretty simple. Here's another problem. If 9 counters are 3/4 of the set, how many counters are the whole set? Once again, 9 is not the whole set. So 3/4 equals 9 over blank, because 9 is the part. 9 is not the whole set. We're trying to find out what the whole set is. Now simple multiplication. 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 3, this is where you have to know your facts, is 12. 12 counters. Here's the problem here. I'm going to press pause. I want you to try and see if you can solve this problem. If you're not getting it, go ahead and solve with me. All right, let's take a look at this problem. Jen had $8. Heather had enough money to pay 3/5 of the bill. So what does this mean? Jen then had to pay 2/5 of the bill if Heather paid for 3/5. So we have to find out what 2/5 of the bill is, okay? Well, if 2/5, that means we have 1/5 and we have 1/5, right? $8, we're gonna have to divide that by 2. So $4, $4, right? How much did Heather pay? How much was the total bill? Well, let's take a look here. If 1/5 is $4, what would 3/5 have to be? Okay, 3/5 would have to be 4 times 3, which would be $12. Heather paid $12. Total bill would be 8 plus 12, which would be $20. Here's another way of solving that problem, okay? If we have 2/5 here, $8 is part, right? Equal each other. If we're going to divide this by 4, 8 divided by 4 gives me 2. What number divided by 4 gives me 5? It would be 20. 8 over 20 is 2/5, so you can always work backwards too. Whatever you multiply on the top, you have to multiply on the bottom. Whatever you divide on the top, you have to divide on the bottom. I gave you a little division here, okay? So if 8/20 is 2/5, that means 1/5 is $4. So 3/5 would have to be $12. So that means the total bill is 20. Okay? Once again, all those basic counters, as part, as wholes, you're multiplying. They're all basic fractions. Tomorrow I'll be helping you out with some more problems like Jen and Heather, okay? But you can do all of this math as long as you just remember what is the whole, what is the denominator, and what is the part, what is the numerator. Good luck, and I look forward to working with you in class tomorrow.